Amos, I asked, you didn't have any pet birds, did you? Khufu's eating something with pink feathers. Amos sipped his coffee. Sorry if that disturbed you. Khufu's very picky. He only eats foods that end in O. Doritos, burritos, flamingos. I blinked. Did you say? Carter, Sadie warned. She looked a little queasy, like she'd already had this conversation. Don't ask. Okay, I said. Not asking. Please, Carter, help yourself. Amos waved towards a buffet table, piled high with food. Then we can get started with the explanations. I didn't see any flamingo on the buffet table, which was fine by me, but there was just about everything else. I snagged some pancakes with butter and syrup, some bacon and a glass of OJ. Then I noticed movement in the corner of my eyes. I glanced at the swimming pool. Something long and pale was gliding just under the surface of the water. I almost dropped my plate. Is that? A crocodile, Amos confirmed. For good luck. He's albino, but please don't mention that. He's sensitive. His name is Philip of Macedonia, Sadie informed me. I wasn't sure how Sadie was taking this all so calmly, but I figured if she wasn't freaking out, I shouldn't either. That's a long name, I said. He's a long crocodile, Sadie said. Oh, and he likes bacon. To prove her point, she tossed a piece of bacon over her shoulder. Philip plunged out of the water and snapped up the treat. His hide was pure white and his eyes were pink. His mouth was so big he could have snapped up an entire pig. He's quite harmless to my friends, Amos assured me. In the old days, no temple would be complete without a lake full of crocodiles. They're powerful magic creatures. Right, I said. So, the baboon, the crocodile, any other pets I should know about? Amos thought for a moment. Visible ones? No, I think that's it. I took a seat as far from the pool as possible. Muffin circled my legs unpaired. I hoped she had enough sense to stay away from magic crocodiles named Philip. So, Amos, I said, between bites of pancake. Explanations? Yes, he agreed. Where to start? Our dad, Sadie suggested. What happened to him? Amos took a deep breath. Julius was attempting to summon a god. Unfortunately, it worked. It's kind of hard to take Amos seriously, talking about summoning gods while he spread butter on a bagel. Any god in particular? I asked casually. Or did he just order a generic god? Sadie kicked me under the table. She was scowling as if she actually believed what Amos was saying. Amos took a bite of bagel. There are many Egyptian gods, Carter, but your dad was after one in particular. He looked at me meaningfully. Osiris, I remembered. When Dad was standing in front of the Rosetta Stone, he said, Osiris come. But Osiris is a legend. He's make-believe. I wish that were true. Amos stared across the East River at the Manhattan skyline, gleaming in the morning sun. The ancient Egyptians were not fools, Carter. They built the pyramids. They created the first great nation-state. Their civilization lasted thousands of years. Yeah, I said, I know. They've gone. Amos shook his head. A legacy that powerful does not disappear. Next to the Egyptians, the Greeks and Romans were babies. Our modern nations like Great Britain and America, blinks of an eye. The very oldest root of civilization, at least of Western civilization, is Egypt. Look at the pyramid on the dollar bill. To the Washington Monument, the world's largest Egyptian obelisk. Egypt is still very much alive, and so, unfortunately, are her gods. Come on, I argued. I mean, even if I believe there's a real thing called magic, believing in ancient gods is totally different. You're joking, right? But as I said it, I thought about the fiery guy in the museum, the way his face had shifted between human and animal, and the statue of Thoth, how its eyes had followed me. Carter, Amos said, the Egyptians would not have been stupid enough to believe in imaginary gods. The beings they described in their myths are very, very real. In the old days, the priests of Egypt would call upon these gods to channel their power and perform great feats. That is the origin of what we now call magic. Like many things, Magic was first invented by the Egyptians. Each temple had a branch of magicians called the House of Life. Their magicians were famed throughout the ancient world. And you're an Egyptian magician? Amos nodded. So was your father. You saw it for yourself last night. I hesitated. It was hard to deny my dad had done some weird stuff at the museum, some stuff that looked like magic. But he's an archaeologist, I said stubbornly. That's his cover story. You'll remember that he specialized in translating ancient spells, which are very difficult to understand unless you work magic yourself. Our family, the Kane family, has been part of the House of Life almost since the beginning, and your mother's family is almost as ancient. The Fausts. I tried to imagine Grandma and Grandpa Faust doing magic, and unless watching rugby on TV and burning cookies was magical, I couldn't see it. They had not practiced magic for many generations, Amos admitted. Not until your mother came along. But yes, a very ancient bloodline. Sadie shook her head in disbelief. So now Mum was magic too. Are you joking? No jokes, Amos promised. The two of you combine the blood of two ancient families, both of which have a long, complicated history with the gods. You are the most powerful Kane children to be born in many centuries. I tried to let that sink in. At the moment, I didn't feel powerful. I felt queasy. You're telling me our parents secretly worshipped animal-headed gods? I asked. Not worshipped, Amos corrected. By the end of the ancient times, Egyptians had learned that their gods were not to be worshipped. They are powerful beings, primeval forces, but they are not divine in the sense one might think of God. They are created entities, like mortals, only much more powerful. We can respect them, fear them, use their power, or even fight them to keep them under control. Fight gods, Sadie interrupted. Constantly, Amos assured her. But we don't worship them. Thoth taught us that. I looked at Sadie for help. The old guy had to be crazy, but Sadie was looking like she believed every word. So, I said, why did Dad break the Rosetta Stone? Oh, I'm sure he didn't mean to break it, Amos said. That would have horrified him. In fact, I imagine my brethren in London have repaired the damage by now. The curators will soon check their vaults and discover that the Rosetta Stone miraculously survived the explosion. But it was blown into a million pieces, I said. How could they repair it? Amos picked up a saucer and threw it onto the stone floor. The saucer shattered instantly. That was to destroy, Amos said. I could have done it by magic. Hardy, but it's simpler just to smash it. And now? Amos held out his hand. Join my name. A blue hieroglyphic symbol burned in the air above his palm. The pieces of the saucer flew into his hand and reassembled like a puzzle, even the smallest bits of dust gluing themselves into place. Amos put the perfect saucer back on the table. Some trick, I managed. I tried to sound calm about it, but I was thinking of all the odd things that had ever happened to my dad and me over the years, like those gunmen in Cairo hotel who'd ended up hanging by their feet from a chandelier. Was it possible my dad had made that happen with some kind of spell? Amos poured milk in the saucer and put it on the floor. Nothing came padding over. At any rate, your father would never intentionally damage a relic. He simply didn't realize how much power the Rosetta Stone contained. You see, as Egypt faded, its magic collected and concentrated into its remaining relics. Most of these, of course, are still in Egypt, but you can find some in almost every major museum. A magician can use these artifacts as focal points to work more powerful spells. I don't get it, I said. Amos spread his hands. I'm sorry, Carter. It takes years of study to understand magic, and I'm trying to explain it to you in a single morning. The important thing is, for the past 6 years, your father has been looking for a way to summon Osiris, and last night he thought he had found the right artifact to do it. Wait, why did he want Osiris? Sadie gave me a troubled look. Carter, Osiris was the lord of the dead. Dad was talking about making things right. He was talking about Mum. Suddenly the morning seemed colder. The fire pit sputtered in the wind coming off the river. You wanted to bring Mum back from the dead, I said. That's crazy. Amos hesitated. It would have been dangerous, inadvisable, foolish, but not crazy. Your father is a powerful magician. If, in fact, that is what he was after, he might have accomplished it using the power of Osiris. I stared at Sadie. You're actually buying this? You saw the magic at the museum. The fiery bloke Dad summoned. Something from the stone. Yeah, I said, thinking in my dream. But that wasn't Osiris, was it? No, Amos said. Your father got more than he bargained for. He did release the spirit of Osiris. In fact, I think he successfully joined with the god. Joined with? Amos held up his hand. Another long conversation. For now, let's just say he drew the power of Osiris into himself, but he never got the chance to use it, because according to what Sadie has told me, it appears that Julius released 5 gods from the Rosetta Stone. 5 gods were all trapped together. I glanced at Sadie. You told him everything. He's going to help us, Carter. I wasn't quite ready to trust this guy, even if he was our uncle, but I decided I didn't have much choice. Okay, yeah, I said. The fiery guy said something like, you released all 5. What did he mean? Amos sipped his coffee. The faraway look on his face reminded me of my dad. I don't want to scare you. Too late. The gods of Egypt are very dangerous. For the last 2,000 years or so, we magicians have spent much of our time binding and banishing them wherever they appear. In fact, our most important law, issued by Chief Lector Iskander in Roman times, forbids unleashing the gods or using their power. Your father broke that law once before. Sadie's face paled. Does this have something to do with Mum's death? Cleopatra's Needle in London? It has everything to do with that, Sadie. Your parents, well, they thought they were doing something good. They took a terrible risk, and it cost your mother her life. Your father took the blame. He was exiled, I suppose you would say, banished. He was forced to move around constantly because the house monitored his activities. They feared he would continue his research, as indeed he did. I thought about the times Dad would look over his shoulder as he copied some ancient inscriptions, or wake me up at 3 or 4 in the morning and insist it was time to change hotels, or warn me not to look in his work bag, or copy certain pictures from old temple walls, as if our lives depended on it. Is that why you never came round? Sadie asked Amos. Because Dad was banished. The house forbade me to see him. I loved Julius. It hurt me to stay away from my brother and from you children, but I could not see you until last night, and I simply had no choice but to try to help. Julius has been obsessed with finding Osiris for years. He was consumed with grief because of what happened to your mother. When I learned that Julius was about to break the law again, to try to set things right, I had to stop him. A second offense would have meant a death sentence. Unfortunately, I failed. I should have known he was too stubborn. I looked down at my plate. My food had got cold. A muffin leaked onto the table and rubbed against my hand. When I didn't object, she started eating my bacon. Last night at the museum, I said, the girl with the knife, the man with the forked beard, they were magicians too? From the House of Life? Yes, Amos said, keeping an eye on your father. You are fortunate they let you go. The girl wanted to kill us, I remembered, but the guy with the beard said, not yet. They don't kill unless it's absolutely necessary, Amos said. They will wait to see if you are a threat. Why would we be a threat? Sadie demanded. We're children. The summoning wasn't our idea. Amos pushed away his plate. There is a reason you two were raised separately. Because the Faust took Dad to court, I said matter-of-factly, and Dad lost. It was much more than that, Amos said. The house insisted you two be separated. Your father wanted to keep you both, even though he knew how dangerous it was.